Welcome back to Accounts 2.0. I'm Steve Perpich, and with me is Ted Williamson. Today is part 2, or part B, of step 9, onboarding. And then part B, we're talking about they're on board now, and let's try to keep them. All right. So right off the bat, keeping people on board is about customer management. So client relationship management, CRM, is critical. And why I even say CRM, it says, well, Steve, like CRM, okay, everybody's got a CRM. Everybody's got a thing that handles pipeline, blah, blah, blah. Well, yes. And that's
not true.
Well, people think they do.
So many of them don't.
They install it. They have the default, so they think they have a CRM, but really they just treat it like a big random Rolodex. CRM is not just a SaaS product. It is it's a baked-in process. A proper CRM being used handles all aspects of the customer client relationship, and not just right up to the sales, signing contracts and getting them on board. It's all the post activity. A CRM could be your platform to handle the onboarding. It's possible. A lot of platforms have that level of, you can create an onboarding pipeline after the sales pipeline. But you really have to have to make a long story short on that, you have to have a process that's ongoing and cyclical after the fact that they're onboarded to maintain the client relationship, and also to identify opportunities when your client situation is changing, for either upselling, changing services, and noting that, as well as your staff changes and your clients get reassigned to representatives. It provides that history. So the new representative stepping in hits the ground running and doesn't have to re-interview and almost resell the client. I've had that in my experience in the past, where I was taking on a sales role in firms, and they just hand you a client list of existing clients, and you look at the notes, they're so poorly, it might as well have just been a mailing list. You almost have to reintroduce yourself, reassess the client. That is completely unacceptable. So, and the whole idea of a CRM, it has to be client-centric. And when I say that, all contact points, all communication notifications, it has to take the client into consideration. You're servicing the client. They're not just a number or something to push through the process to farm for that monthly bill, and you just respond to them. You got to check in on them. There's touch points, but again, that should all be baked into your process.
Absolutely. That's I think it's super important to have that constant communication baked in, and getting having that automation, or at least just understanding who they are, where they stand, all of that kind of stuff, right? So having a CRM that actually is useful, like not just a database or Rolodex, like you said, that where those contacts are tagged properly, so they're an active client, they're an inactive client, they're a prospective client. Like, all those things are very, very important, because then you know what to do with that person and how to talk to them. You can even tag them as like what types of services they might have, right? So then you can have a specific newsletter or anything like that in order to keep that communication going, and give them some sort of value. They understand what it is that they've onboarded to as on an ongoing basis.
Well, this is where I take it to another level. I like proactive advisory services can be dovetailed in once you have a predictable cycle of communication and client-centric awareness. And what I mean by that is, if the representative or even or enlightened operations staff, they know the situation of their client, but based on those touch points, they're changing conditions. You can use a little, I should say, give them a little information, like a newsletter, to inform them. But if you identify a gap because of that, and you'll be able to, a little fear is healthy, because you can say, look, you have a gap here because you're not doing X, or you're not filing this on time, or your cash flow situation is this. And then you can either get right into why is this happening, and it may result in another service, either an operational bolt-on, some type of efficiency, perhaps tax advisory, and various other things. And if you set up your affiliates and partners properly, that gives you the opportunity to show what a great expanded service you are, and it strengthens that relationship with your client, and obviously increase the chance of long-term retention because you're keeping them healthy in a financial sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So I think a good opportunity when you're using like a CRM is to track referrals. So once you bring them on, you want to bring on more clients. So essentially what you need to do is make sure that your client, first of all, again, they're happy and you're getting reviews. Second of all, you are able to get referrals. You can automate that process as well, and then track where they come from, how they got to you, all of that kind of stuff. Right? It's super, super important. And that onboarding, as a good onboarding can help you with the client sentiment. And then as soon as that happens, you should be looking at what other opportunities there are with them, and how to bring on more clients and to share their experience, right?
Well, and again, I'll go to my personal experience. You'll find that it's, again, the old 20/80 rule. A group of your clients are going to be so happy with you because you're constantly providing feedback opportunities. You'll know the sentiment. They're going to have that relationship with you with a sense of pride. And people like to show off. So they're going to say, hey, my accounting firm's the best. You guys should talk to you should talk to so-and-so at my firm. And they're become a great referral source. And that's where I'm reinforcing your statement as to track where these referrals are coming from, because that client is a gold mine of future referrals. If they are so happy with you, they're constantly being an evangelist and espousing virtues of doing business with you. You want to give them the attention that they need to maintain that, because as opposed to a client who, they signed up, their feedback is relatively neutral. Again, it's just how they view the relationship. They may see you more as a fixture service, and try as you may, they may not rise above that. And that's something you just have to deal with. And it's great. They keep you year in, year out, but they're not really providing referrals. But the client that is, you got to focus, have them more in the dialogue, get more feedback. They're going to be very valuable because they're worth much more than what they're paying you, because they're bringing in opportunities.
Absolutely. And you need to show your appreciation to them. So I'm not saying like financially or anything like that, but if when you're tracking that and you're able to identify them, you're able to thank them, or at least remember that. So there were times when I wasn't tracking properly, where a referral would come in and I had no idea where that referral came from because it wasn't tracked properly. And then a client would come and be like, hey, did you meet so-and-so? And I was like, yeah, I did. And they're like, oh yeah, I sent them. I'm like, oh wow, thank you. And they're like, I wish, I didn't know because I didn't hear from you. And it's like, because sometimes they're expecting to hear from you to get a little thank you or something like that. I feel bad because I didn't realize that. And so you don't want to feel bad, and you want them to feel good. So tracking
and part of that's your sales
responding
process.
to them.
Part of that's your sales process, because on first encounter with somebody, you can ask, have you been referred? Who referred you? That kind of stuff. And again, it gets back to process so that these things aren't missed. Onto showing appreciation for clients. You're playing right into my original blog.
That was by design. No, I'm just kidding. So.
Having fun and wholesome client appreciation events. Now, like I said, you don't repay them with free stuff. Okay. You don't need to. They're already happy with you. But to consolidate that, you can have events either online or in real time if you're a regional player that plays in a region where you're actually physically seeing the clients and things. They should be either very business positive or family positive events. I don't advise hitting the 19th hole at the golf club or the yacht club. In this century now, alcohol-related events are not a great way to maintain relationships, because you're really narrowing your offering or who you're dealing with. So, but if the events are like, I would say, you can have a family barbecue. Maybe integrate some of your employees into that. I guess have an employee event, but then have an employee and customer appreciation event. But for online, it could be special master seminars, mastermind groups, various other things where you're inviting only the clients, say client only online event. So then they know, oh, this is not a sales event. I'm already doing business with these people, but now I get to meet other clients that are willing to participate. You've actually created now a networking event between your clients, and you're providing them a potential sales benefit for them. So that's a very big value add, really no expense on your part, because now you're getting a whole audience of feedback from people you're already doing business with. And so it really, and now your clients are getting a perspective of who else you're doing business with. That really reinforces those relationships, because and that builds trust. You're creating a lot of transparency there.
Yeah, and you're creating an exclusive event. I mean, if you wanted to, you really could say you can have a +1, and then it could become a little bit more because they're saying, hey, you get exclusive information, but we know that sometimes you want a friend that can also get that exclusive information. You can have one person come with
like
you.
a business guest for sure, 100%. You know, and that's just style.
And then it could become a sales opportunity, not where you're jumping down trying to get sales, but if they enjoy that event and they're with their friend, they might be like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna talk to Steve. I'm gonna see how Steve can help me, being that I want to be always a part of this exclusivity, right? So so that definitely something to think about. The events, I think, are really, really cool. But again, you have to be a big enough firm, I think, for that, and make sure that you have a very good, we call it a net promoter score, but a good like star rating, that you're doing a good job and your clients are actually happy and you have high retention. Because if all of a sudden you do one of these events and you maybe hit a rough patch, or you're having a growth spurt issue or something like that, and you have a little bit of negative sentiment, then you have clients that are talking to each other, and they're looking at other people, and they're like, hey, how's Steve? He's like, he's kind of falling behind. He's like, I kind of noticed that too. I was talking to Ted, and he was, he seems like he pays more attention. So Steve might lose you, and then you might come to me, kind of as an example. So we don't want to do that. We'll only do that if you're providing a really good service and having a good onboarding and keeping them on board.
Well, the assumption is that your engagement is going to be perfect and beyond reproach at all levels. And now
it should.
And now moving that along, how the rapport that you have with your client and your client's demeanor and what you discuss. Actually, before we started recording this, I was talking to Ted about this. One of my pet peeves, clients that joke about, especially in the accounting thing, joke about misreporting or anything like that, like saying, hey, trying to like push the boundaries of an expense, and they usually make these comments out of, I call it ignorant innocence, but there's lots of things that people think they can write off or want to write off for legitimate expenses that are corporate, that are not. They're definitely personal expenses, things like that. If the conversation goes to that level where this is not IRS friendly mode of thought, you diplomatically steer them away from that conversation. To kind of joke and go along with it, you don't know who's listening, you don't know how it's being taken, but if you diplomatically steer them back to a mode of thought that's ethical, you're always going to be seen as the ethical rock by which all things happen, and you're the source of calm and stability in their chaos. And it comes down to, they're trying to build a rapport and they're trying to be funny, but it's like if you're hanging out with police officers and you're making fun about breaking the law, well, that's not a great conversation. Same thing with accountants. Don't talk about tax evasion and goof stuff like that. And if your clients are, joke about that kind of thing, again, just politely steer them back. Sometimes I actually politely talk about the penalties that would be involved in such an infraction. And then, there you go. just to keep that in line. But that's part of the whole rapport. So when you're having events where there's a lot of people interchanging information, again, avoid it becoming a fault finding session. Make sure that the guest list is of a positive nature, but also when you are building that rapport, the subject of conversation should be productive, efficiency oriented, and helping them grow and scale their business in the most ethical manner possible.
I mean, you can definitely have fun. Just don't have fun and sound illegal. So
Exactly.
don't sound like you want to help them commit fraud or something. So
Yeah,
but still have fun, like, because like that's one of the views people have about the accounting industry, is that they're all stuffy and they have no personality. We all know that that's not really true. I mean, there is an introverted nature to the accounting industry, but not necessarily that we don't know how to have fun, because we do. And we definitely want, that was actually something I was going to talk about, is we want to have good bedside manner. We want to make sure that we are having fun with them, not at anybody's expense, but we can joke around, and we can make sure that we are still professional at the same time. So,
absolutely.
super important.
And like some of the positive things, like part of fun is you're showing your prowess with regard to classification of transactions to optimize a person's tax position in the that's fun. First of all, you're showing your knowledge. You can joke around with the level of workload or various other things, and at the same time, you're showing how they could be an advantage to the client in a productive manner. So, and that could always be engaged with humor by complaining about the workload that you're doing for them.
By complaining, yeah.
How you slave under that monthly contract at a set rate above and beyond the duties that you're providing.
Yeah. So I want to talk about you have a regular and verifiable training of staff in there, and I think that's kind of important when it comes to keeping clients on board, because you can have, as we all know, we've all had the experience where we like a company or something like that, and then we like call for support or for help or something like that, and you get some really crappy person on the phone, like where you don't like your experience, and it makes you not like I mean, it might not make you not like a company, but it puts a bad taste in your mouth, right? And that can grow into something else, especially if the next time they get that same person or somebody else who might also have that. So that bedside manner, I think, is important. Not just the training of specifically how to communicate with them, like what to say specifically, but how to say it is important too, right? Like, so how do you communicate with clients? You're not just an automaton that does work and prepares books or does analysis for our clients. You actually have to talk to the client and represent the company, not just in a professional manner, but in a fun, or maybe not fun, but a positive manner. So not
don't act like they're bugging you or you're rushed and you're so busy and that you're doing them a favor just by talking.
Yeah, because that I've seen happen a million times too in the profession, where clients will tell me is like, why do I like coming to you? Because I love your staff. I love the way that they talk to me. I love the way that I can tell them things. I end up being my staff can be their confidant, where they don't even want to talk to me anymore. They want to talk to my staff because they get a little bit more attention from them. They enjoy their interactions with them. So I think it's very, very important that what you want your company to sound and feel like, if it came from your own mouth, makes it to the rest of the people on the team, so that they get that same experience regardless if they go to you or them, or if even better, if they get a better experience when they go to your staff. So I think it's really important.
Absolutely. Positive demeanor, non-rushed, and make sure it's the right knowledge. Person has the right knowledge through consistent training, and how to handle things if they don't have specific knowledge diplomatically, and not just punt it down the field. Like, have a clear plan and a response to the client that, okay, I don't know this answer right now. I am going to get back to you, or this person is the real contact person for this, and I will arrange a call for you with that individual, as opposed to
back from me,
well, yeah, you got to call Sue. Here's her email address. Click. Like, wow, no, don't do that.
And we all know that that's something easy to do during tax season is, say, if you're knee deep in taxes and somebody calls about their bookkeeping, you're like, I don't want to deal with this. Talk to Steve. I don't want to deal with this because I have a million files on right now. Where what you could do is just shoot a quick email with an introduction, or talk to Steve and then have a call and just says, here, I've talked to Steve, he's going to give you a call, right? Just so that they know what to expect. It only takes a minute. Make your clients happy, ongoing, right?
Right. And, saying, oh, we're very busy right now is not a way to engage at all. Don't start the conversation with that. Oh, we're very busy right now. It's like, no.
They know you're busy. They don't care.
Yeah, they can care less. You're right. They need an answer. So give them an answer that they can take action with, and they'll appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing, the ethical. That's what you were just talking about, the no joking. So,
Right.
So I think we actually are done with part B, then, aren't we?
Absolutely. I think for step 9, parts A and B, can it give you a solid background and foundation for efficient onboarding and post-onboarding retention strategies. This is definitely something that we want to have a mastermind group about. Ted and I were discussing that. And so keep following us. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and go to our website and engage with us on that level. We're at a point now where we're going to start doing these masterminds a little, and this would be a great topic. There's a lot of war stories people can trade, and we'll all benefit from that. And also, when you're feeling stressed, it's good to engage with us because we'll help you with some perspective. We love talking to people.
Yeah,
we really do.
And like in the comments, whether you're in our Facebook group, our growth and operations Facebook group, or whether you're watching us on YouTube or whatever, just comment. I would love to hear some of those horror stories because I wouldn't mind bringing them up as an example of of how we might be able to get around having those horror stories again. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just can't please somebody, and I'd love to hear those ones because they're just funny. So when you have somebody who's so ridiculous that that they shouldn't really be anybody's client. I mean, it's just like dating, I guess. There's always somebody for everybody, but
well, again,
not for me.
You're striking on one of Accountant 2.0's philosophy. We do think that the right accountants should be matched with the right clients.
Yes, absolutely.
So, that's a whole other topic that we're going to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you everybody for coming into part B. Like I said, if we missed anything, or if you want to hear anything else, comment, everything else, I'd like you to like and subscribe. Check us out. Go on to accountants20.com. Check out all our blog, podcasts, all of our resources, and join our group. Thank you, everybody. I guess, Steve, if you want to, because I just kind of stole your outro.
No. You want to? So I'm Steve Perpich. This is Ted Williamson, and we are looking forward to the next our next podcast. We only got two steps left, and then we're going to be moving on to a whole other range of topics. So until next time, thank you very much, and again, have a great day.
Have a great day. Thanks.